If you're an empty nester or a pending retiree and you're thinking about starting your next phase of life, the Carolinas are a great place for you to consider. Both states offer 4 seasons, robust economies, mountains and beaches, and really nice people. But which state do you choose? Well, in this video, we're going to compare the 2 states together and decide which is the best fit for you. Let's do it. As always, my friends, my name is Sawyer, your friend in real estate here in the upstate of South Carolina. And it's our goal with this channel that we are your #1 resource for all the things that you need to know about your relocation to the upstate of South Carolina. And if you like this information and you like the video, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel so that you can follow along with future videos. As a lifetime resident of South Carolina, I'm going to do my best not to be one-sided for South Carolina versus North Carolina, and try to give as fair of a fight to both states as I can. But in the end, I do think you are gonna find that South Carolina may be the better value for most consumers. So both North and South Carolina are similar in many ways, and they're also different in a lot of ways. South Carolina, which is obviously just south of North Carolina, has a population of about 5 million people. It offers a coastline with a number of beaches that attract tourists throughout the year. It has mountains in the western part of the state. There are 3 major urban city centers and several small towns spread in between all of those city centers. And there's probably something here for just about everybody. On the other hand, North Carolina, which is obviously just north of South Carolina, is known as the Tar Heel State. And there is a population of about 10 million people. So it's almost double the size of South Carolina. And North Carolina is known for Raleigh, for Charlotte, for Winston-Salem, and for Asheville. So obviously there's more cities in North Carolina to choose from, because one, it's a bigger state surface area wise, and there's more of a population to fill these city centers. On the east side, you have the coast, and on the west side, you have the mountains. And in between there is relatively flat land. So first off, let's cover the cost of living in each state. So here in South Carolina, according to My Life Elsewhere, life in South Carolina is going to be about 5% cheaper than living in North Carolina. A couple examples would be groceries in general are a few percentage points cheaper than in North Carolina. A bottle of Coke is about 12% cheaper in South Carolina than it is in North Carolina. And bestplaces.net, which obviously we have talked about on the channel before, brings the overall cost of living index for South Carolina at an 89.3. And for North Carolina, it comes in at a 91, which means that in South Carolina, compared to the majority of the United States, it's about 11 percentage points cheaper to live here than it is throughout the country. And then in North Carolina, it's about 9 percentage points cheaper to live there than generally across the country. So now let's compare taxes in each state. So in South Carolina, like we've mentioned in our other video about taxes and cost of living here in Greenville and in South Carolina, individual taxes for individuals works on a graduated scale. So depending on your income level here in South Carolina, you can be taxed anywhere from 0 to 6%, which is where it's capped. And recently it was higher than 6%, but in the last year or two, it has come back down to 6% from a higher level. And in North Carolina, the individual tax rate is a flat 4.75% across the board. So no matter what your income level is, whether it be the top 1% earners or the bottom 10% earners, you're still going to pay that flat 4.75% for taxes every year. And property taxes in South Carolina do differ a little bit from North Carolina. So in South Carolina, what I say is multiply the value of the home by 0.6%, and that would give you your general range of what you're going to pay every year in taxes. And if you're a senior and you've lived in the home for over a year, you will be able to qualify for the homestead exemption. So what that will do is it will knock off the first $50,000 of value for your home and offset that against your taxes, which will save you a lot of money in property taxes every year. In North Carolina, property taxes are higher, so they tend to come in around 0.82% of the property's value. And interestingly enough, they do have the homestead exemption. However, for a homeowner in North Carolina to qualify for the homestead exemption, they also, in addition to being 65, have to have an income level of less than $36,700 a year, which is going to eliminate most homeowners from being able to qualify for the homestead exemption. So taxes in South Carolina versus North Carolina, specifically for retirees, does differ a decent amount. So in South Carolina, Social Security is not taxed. And for individuals over the age of 65 taking retirement distributions, you can claim up to $15,000 of that retirement income and deduct that from your taxes per spouse every year. Also, South Carolina does not tax military pensions, and 100% disabled veterans do not pay property taxes here in South Carolina either. In North Carolina, however, North Carolina is moderately tax friendly. Also for retirees, Social Security is not taxed just like it is in South Carolina. But in comparison to South Carolina, North Carolina does tax retirement distribution income. And it is at that flat rate of 4.75%. So in North Carolina, you will pay income tax on any retirement distributions that you receive. However, in South Carolina, you can deduct up to $15,000 of that retirement income from your taxes every single year. And what about health care in North Carolina versus South Carolina? So in North Carolina, you have world-renowned facilities like Duke and UNC Chapel Hill, as well as places in Charlotte like Atrium Health, which are known all across the country for the specialty providers that they have. And I know personally people who go and travel to Duke that live here in Greenville for very unique conditions that specialists here in Greenville do not cover. However, in South Carolina, we also have grade A healthcare from MUSC in Charleston, which is the most comprehensive teaching hospital in the state, from Providence Heart Institute in Columbia, which is known for their top tier heart specialists there in the Midlands of South Carolina, and Prisma Health, which is headquartered here in Greenville, but is throughout the state, and it is the most comprehensive provider in the entire state of South Carolina, headquartered right here in Greenville. So comparing the two states, both have excellent healthcare options for retirees if they are looking to relocate to the Carolinas. So finally, let's talk real estate. And in comparing North Carolina and South Carolina, generally the two states are going to be pretty similar as far as the health of their real estate market. If you look at net migration trends, if you look at United Van Lines, or if you look at U-Haul studies, where are most of the people in the country moving to? A lot of these people are moving to the Southeast. A lot of businesses and corporations are coming to the Southeast because our business environments are much more friendly than, let's say, more secular states with more restrictive policies, higher corporate taxes, and so on and so on. So generally speaking, North and South Carolina are gonna be pretty comparable as far as real estate markets go. Both have a shortage of motivated home sellers, both have a limited inventory, and both see a lot of new construction. However, since North Carolina is centrally focused around hubs like Raleigh and Winston-Salem and Asheville and Charlotte, the markets in those hubs are going to be much more expensive than they are in the hubs here in South Carolina. So where I work in Greenville, comparing that to Raleigh or Charlotte and even Asheville, real estate prices in those markets do tend to be significantly higher. Just last week I had a conversation with an individual who lives in Charlotte who is looking to relocate to South Carolina because of all the influx of people into Charlotte, and it's just getting a little bit too crazy and a little bit too expensive for him. So he's looking to move to Greenville. And in comparing generally the real estate market in South Carolina, there's a lot of folks moving into South Carolina too. You know, you have your coastal cities if people want to be on the coast. And then you have a place like Greenville, which offers proximity to the coast, proximity to the mountains, proximity to both Atlanta and Charlotte if you're going on an international flight. And then our small, healthy, robust city is growing day by day, and the real estate market here is relatively healthy. Of course, just like everywhere else, we have a shortage of motivated home sellers, and to supplement that, we have a lot of new construction from $280,000 to over $1 million. You can find anything that you're looking for here in the Greenville area. So hopefully this tidbit of information helped in starting that process to determine whether you want to live in North Carolina or South Carolina. And if you're considering the Carolinas in general, do me a favor, reach out to me at my cell phone number below or my email below. I would love to have a conversation with you about what a relocation to the Carolinas for you and possibly your family could look like here in the next 6 to 12 months. And as always, my friends, my name is Will Sawyer, your friend in real estate here in Greenville, Lake Kiowee, and the upstate of South Carolina. And if you are looking to relocate to our area, please give me a shout. I would love to chat with you. Until next time, be safe. Well, this video is going to be about Greenville County, the upstate of South Carolina. Great thing to do and easily in the evening. I'm a local real estate expert here in the area. All time, you know, right behind me is a really cool place called Freight Yard.